Welcome to an art business workshop. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here, and I can kind of get into the agenda for the day, as it were. Um, I have a video that I recorded a couple of weeks ago running one of these things, and it was a really good presentation. It was really well received, and it's probably better than I'm going to do right now because it's Monday and I'm just hungover after a long weekend. Um, just from all of it, my kids wiped me out. So I'm going to play the video. I promise it's me, and it's just from a couple of weeks ago, and it's good. It's better than I would do live right now anyway. I'm serious. That'll kind of explain some high level things, and then that'll allow me to conserve my energy because after the session plays, we will get into the Q&A, which is honestly the best part of this whole thing. So we have like a hand raising thing you can do, or you can throw questions in the chat. Actually, I should mention the chat. So as we roll along, I'm going to be throwing videos at you and reports and PDFs and blog posts and such. So a lot of those links we'll throw into the chat, which you can see down here. But also, there's other members of my team on this. And come to think of it, Ivona, I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to make you a co-host too. I mean, just in case, so you can answer questions in the chat. So the point is, if you've got a question as the thing's rolling along, and you're like, I want it out of my head, you can throw it in the chat. And we can either answer it on the spot, or once we get to the tail end of the presentation, we'll get into things. And then just get your questions ready for the Q&A. It can be about anything. Anything art and photography marketing related, anything about what we do at Art Storefronts, anything that was in the presentation, any and all of it is good to go. And what else? I guess I'll just save everything for after the fact. But excited to have you here. We'll play the video, and then I will see you guys in just a few minutes. Go ahead, April. My name's Patrick. Run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that for about 6 years now. And that means I've been working on solving the problem that is, how do you sell art or photography by best leveraging marketing and digital marketing in particular. And it's an interesting problem to work on. There's not that many, you know, art marketing agencies, for instance, right? Because it's a very, very hard problem to solve. Selling art and photography is not like selling every other item out there. A lot of tradecraft, a lot of nuance to it. In addition to that, I've been running 3 of these sessions since a little bit before the pandemic. So, year and a couple of months now. I don't believe that there's another human being on the planet that talks to more artists and photographers on a week in, week out basis. I have now at this point heard it all, seen it all, you know, niche selection, pricing, sales, Facebook ads, branding, how to negotiate with the galleries, pricing, markup. I have heard and been through all of it over the last year. And in addition to that, we have like a little bit over 5,500 customers now. And one of the things that we do a great deal of is studying the ones that sell the best and studying quite in depth. For instance, who's capturing the most emails? How are they doing that? Excuse me. Who is the best on Facebook? Who's the best on Instagram? What are they posting? What kind of activity are they getting there? Who is selling the most art, period? Who is selling the most classes? Who is selling the most originals? Who's selling the most commissions? Metal prints, canvas prints. And you do all of that collectively. And why am I bringing all of this up? I think I can help you. I think today's Q&A after I'm done with the presentation can be insanely valuable. I think if you're struggling with something, I probably have a solution that can put you on the path. And I mean that in the biggest non-sales pitch way ever. I don't care if you ever do business with Art Storefronts, if you ever become a customer. I want the session to be valuable. I want to try to get you on a path to growing your art business to where you want it to be. I honestly believe that I can help you. So the Q&A will happen sort of after the presentation, and love for you to think about whatever questions you have, whether you've never sold your art before and you're just trying to get into it, whether you had robust sales pre-pandemic and the pandemic crushed you, whether you're struggling with a question of niche selection. What style should you be doing? Or you're struggling with, how to price your work, or you're struggling with how to get attention to your work, which, let's be honest, 100% of you guys are struggling with that. Every single solitary artist and photographer is struggling with that. But point being, have your questions ready, and we'll get into the Q&A after the fact. But I want to start with sort of this new concept that I've come up with, and I call it the art selling pyramid. Okay, and I sort of stole it from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've seen this pyramid, right? But in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, um, you've got the physiological needs at the bottom, right? And the concept of the pyramid is you have to sort the blocks on the bottom before you can even contemplate sorting the blocks on the top. And the physiological needs are first, right? We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to do that daily. That has to happen every single solitary day before we can even contemplate working on safety and shelter and money. And then you go up the thing and it's love and belonging and esteem and self actualization. You can become a great person and all of that jazz. So let me give you the art selling pyramid, okay? Borrowed from Maslow. Same thing, pyramid, got to sort the bottom blocks, up we move. And the bottom block, the first block is attention. And I know without equivocation that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has an attention problem. What is attention? It is the eyeballs that you need to be able to sell your work. It is people knowing who you are, seeing your work, interacting with you. And we live in a, in a world right now where attention is the currency of the land. It's not dollars, it's attention. You have the attention, you can do anything. Without it, you're not in the game. Does the best art that's being created get sold? No. The best art that's being created that gets seen gets sold. And attention is every single solitary one of our problems. And just like in Maslow's pyramid, you have to sort it daily. You have to be working on getting more of it daily. It is no different than eating and sleeping. And I look at this little pyramid and, a perfect way for me to explain it. Do you know who some of the most powerful women, not just in the United States are, but in the entire world are? It's the Kardashians. You want to know why? They have attention. Okay. Any one of those women, any of those surgically enhanced women could decide to start painting stick figures tomorrow and sell $35 million worth of art in the first year. Why? Because they have attention. Okay. They understood what the currency of the land is. When you have the attention, you can do anything. Attention comes in two forms: rented and owned. Rented are YouTube subscribers and Instagram fans and Facebook followers, any social media followers you have on any of those sites. Why is it rented? It's rented because you don't own it. They can change the rules at any time. Still very important, but it's rented. The other kind of attention, the owned attention, really email addresses, most importantly. Secondarily, snail mail. And for some people that do text message marketing, it's phone numbers. But you have to work on building your attention day in, day out. It is a quotidian job. And ultimately, it's the biggest problem that every single solitary one of you on here have. Some of you think you have a website problem. Some of you think you have a pricing problem. Some of you think you have a problem negotiating with galleries. You can't even have any of those problems until you solve the attention problem. The attention problem is the whole ball game. And when you understand it, you start getting intentional. You start working at it. It is no different than eating and sleeping. What did you do to acquire more attention for your work today? If you're not working on that, then you can't even have any of the other problems. Next block. Okay. After we solve the attention situation, we're working on it. It's a constant battle. It never ends. The outside of this block is number 1 and 2 here, and then I'm going to get into the block. Number 1 is the business model. Okay. I believe that an artist or a photographer, if they want to build a successful business, has to understand the business model. The business model is selling direct, by which I mean you, the artist, the photographer, selling directly to your end customer. You retain the data on your end customer such that you are able to market to that customer in perpetuity. Many people, the way that the industry worked traditionally forever, was people that did not retain this information. They sold through galleries, or maybe they did the show and their circuit, but they weren't the best at keeping up with these people and marketing to them in perpetuity. I got this book that I cite all the time, and it's by Weiland. Weiland is the whale guy. Okay, and don't worry, I'm going to send you links to this. But he wrote this book. He sells it directly on his website. He's depending on who you talk to, he's the #1 selling artist in the entire United States, probably even the world, to be honest with you, because of his business model and what he's done. And he talks in that book about this concept called a collector list. Okay, and for Weiland, a collector list are buyers of his art that sell or that buy in upwards of 7+ pieces over the course of a lifetime. And he treats this collector list like VIP. They are his collectors might as well be staying in the Four Seasons. He reaches out. He gives them special access to things. He likes their social media posts, and he continues to build that list. Okay, and fundamentally, it is one of the single solitary most important things any art or photography business can have. Collectors surface, you market to them in perpetuity, your prices continue to go up. They go along for the ride. Some of these people will buy in upwards of 20 and 30 and 40 pieces throughout the course of your life. And if you are not building that list, it's sort of like you're working a job and you're not putting any money away in a retirement account. It's almost like a 401k that just pays every single solitary year. And I can go into some detailed examples, but the goal is you come out with a new series. You have a show, right? Whether it's a photographic series or it's the series that you painted. You'll start out and your collector list will maybe buy 2% of the show or 5% of the show. And your goal is just to build that list such that the percentage of the work that they buy goes up and up and up. And I've seen customers that I've worked with recently where 40 to 50% of the show is bought before anyone even sees it by their collectors, just gone. So you created 20 pieces, 10 are gone instantaneously because you have been cultivating a collector list, because you understand the business model. Okay. And it is, I mean, we're going to get into it, but it is so fundamental. And I've been doing this for a long time now. Okay. I've talked to a lot of people and it breaks my damn heart because on a regular basis, people are coming on these calls. Okay. And they're in their late 40s, late 50s, late 60s, late 70s. They are at the top of their game. They have honed their craft to the greatest it's ever going to be. And guess what? They didn't understand the business model. And guess what? They didn't keep a collector list. And so guess what? The pandemic hit and all their offline revenue sources, poof, are gone. And they're coming on this call and they're going, Patrick, and this is how I envisioned it. They had the corner office, floor to ceiling windows, the giant executive desk, the big leather chair. And I'm telling them, I'm sorry, you're out of there and you have to go back to the mailroom and you're pushing the cart because you did not cultivate this list. Okay. You did not keep a collector list. You did not work on your marketing. You did not understand the business model. What do you have now? You have nothing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wait the pandemic out? Like half the galleries are closed. The ones that are still open are renegotiating the split from 50-50 to 60-40 because they have 100 different artists that they want to pick from. Go back on the show and theater circuit. That's wonderful. That does not pay if it's not at 100% attendance. How long is it going to take for the show and theater circuit to get back to 100% attendance? We don't know, but it's not going to be instantaneous, right? So really, really passionate about the business model. Really, really passionate about the collector list. I think the minute you understand that, boy, are you in a great place. Boy, are you in a great place. You're building it. It takes time. Okay, that's the outer shell. The inside of the block, 3 ways to sell art. There are 3 ways to sell art. Okay, every single solitary artist, my argument, and photographer needs to understand the 3 ways to sell art and needs to be applying them in their business. Number 1, best way to sell art. Trick question of sorts. Everyone knows the best way to sell art. It's in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. Okay. In person, face to face is the best way to sell art. Anytime you have the ability, my voice is just going weird today. Anytime you have the ability to sell art that way, you do that. Problem, we are all of us geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep. We can't have 15 conversations at once. So the third way to sell art, and I say third because it's the least important, is via your website. You absolutely have to have a website. The website solves for these problems when you're asleep, 15 people at a time, and for many of the geographic problems. The second way to sell art, okay, the newest way to sell art, the one the entire art selling world is trying to figure out right now, the greatest advancement in selling art since forever is exactly what we're doing right now. It is selling art via live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion. A one-to-one fashion, I go to Antonio's website. Antonio, these pieces are very interesting. What is that one behind you? I would like to buy it. Can we talk about it? Antonio goes, Patrick, no problem. Let me set up a Zoom call with you. I'll show you a couple of pieces and we can talk about it. I can get to know you. That is the one-to-one fashion. The one-to-many fashion, okay, which is mega interesting as well, is this concept of a live art show, okay? And what am I doing? There we go. So I have a couple examples of this I'm going to show. This is a painter in his garage studio. He has some works that he's trying to sell. He is streaming this to Instagram. He is streaming this to Facebook. He's streaming it to YouTube. He is holding the works up. He's talking about them. People can leave comments. They can purchase them. This is one particular type of these sales. This is a customer and a good friend of ours named Matthew Locke. We've run a number of these different initiatives with him. In addition, okay, to this concept of doing it in your studio, what happens if you have an actual show? He had an actual show in the middle of the pandemic. Now, attendance was limited. A bunch of people couldn't travel, so the attendance of the show was light. He still sold a bunch of stuff, The day after the show, what do? We turn the cameras on. He grabs a glass of wine, wears this ridiculous sleeveless shirt. I always make fun of him for the sleeveless shirts. I can't help it. I think it's funny. And what is he doing? He's walking through the show, and you notice people are leaving comments. We're highlighting the comments. He's walking through the show. He's explaining each of the pieces. Okay. So my point in showing is this is the new, and I've got another one here too. I can rattle through so many examples. This is crazy, but this is absolutely the future of selling art. It is the next best way. And when we contemplate, let me mute this, but I'll just give you something to stare at while I rant here. You know, if selling art in person, face to face, is the best way to sell art, then okay, everything that we do digitally tries to get as close as possible to that. Okay. And what would be the ideal way to sell art? Let's just say it's an art gallery that you have that you own in your hometown. Okay. People can come in, they can get to know you, have a conversation, they can buy the art. For all the people that can't geographically do that, the next best way is this via live video. Again, one to one or one to many, a group show, right? And it's so close to the real thing. It's amazing. You don't have to leave your hometown. They get to know you. They get to interact with you. They feel like they have a bond with the artist. It is the future, full stop. And what's interesting is the entire world is trying to figure this out right now. Okay. The entire art selling world is trying to figure it out. Your industry doesn't have a lot of reports. There's two big ones. Okay. There is the Art Market 2021 report. They do one of these each year. It's from Art Basel and UBS. I'm going to send you links to the report. I want you to read it. It's amazing. It's incredible. The disclaimer on it is these guys report on the top 1% of the art selling market, right? Like the highest of the high end, the Sotheby's, I always forget the other ones. Sotheby's and I can't remember what the other one is. Anyway, the top auction houses in Christie's, the top auction houses and the top art selling dealers and the top galleries and stuff. But the report is still very, very relevant. Okay. And the link we'll send you. You can download the entire report, which I recommend you do. I think you'll find it really insightful. But they have these key findings too, which is like this snazzy little web page they built to talk about it. And so I can go in here, I can explore this thing. We've got some lovely little graphs. But you read this report, and what they call it, and I'll quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. Do you know what online viewing rooms are? A snooty way to talk about a Zoom call, okay? A snooty way to talk about exactly what we are doing right here, right now. So, this is the future of how to sell art in an incredible fashion. I always feel like a bit of a Yahoo to share numbers, but I'm going to share numbers because it's going to give this whole entire thing some teeth, okay? So, Matthew Locke, longtime customer, great friend, normally does the full dog and pony gallery shows in the middle. So this was on June 9th, 2020. He did two of these over a 15-day period. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian from his basement. No 50-50 split, direct, didn't have to leave. This is his garage studio. It's where he paints. Didn't even leave his living room. This gal, Meg, also a customer, she was moving studios, legitimately moving studios from one studio to another. This was about a month ago that we ran this. And, you know, just to underscore my collector list, okay, this particular sale was teased on a Friday. On Monday, she emailed her collector list. Her collector list bought 46% of the show. She sold a little bit less than, I think, 76 different pieces for $15,000. Now, the pieces in this particular show were like the color studies, right? They weren't like the full buttoned up pieces. I'm trying to get to one where she's actually holding one. You know, there were color studies, there were sketches, there were smaller works, right? You know, stuff that was just involved in it. But the point is, this is absolutely the future. It is such an incredible way to sell art and photography. The entire world is trying to figure it out. You know, you get people using various different, you know, at the snooty end, it's OVRs, online viewing rooms, or the art fairs and shows that are trying to keep the booth deposits. What's their line that they love? We're going to have a virtual art show, right? Everyone is trying to figure this out right now. I do not know what floor this particular elevator is going to go to. My guess is it's going to go very high. What I'm saying is right now, this elevator is on the ground floor and the doors haven't even closed yet. The whole world's trying to figure this out. And there is so much tradecraft to it. I can't even begin to tell you. this particular Zoom call, I have all you guys in a Zoom call right now, right? This is also being streamed to 2 YouTube channels, to a Facebook channel, to Twitter, all at once, all simultaneously. Everyone is trying to figure this out, and it is the most effective way to sell art, period. And so, step one is becoming aware of it. Step two is starting to practice it and put it into practice. And I guarantee there's probably not a single solitary person on this call that is doing it. And people ask, what is it that you do at Art Storefronts? We teach our customers how to sell art and photography in the most advanced ways possible. And because I don't care, 90%, I tell people these things, 90% of the people will never, ever even do it. So I don't even care to give away the tradecraft. I'll give away the tradecraft right now. So my sleeveless associate here, Matthew, is using wireless Apple AirPods connected to his iPhone, which has this stream going out live on Instagram. We are leveraging software that is streaming it, that's putting in this little title here, right? And his logo and the banner at the bottom to inquire, and it's pulling the comments in. So cell phone, earpods connected to Instagram on the phone, laptop, computer, Facebook, personal Facebook, YouTube account. All of that goes down all at once simultaneously. And you can see there's numbers here. If the number 2 thing goes away, he's even got little numbers here. Why? Because the people on Instagram can't see the graphics that we have on the screen. And so they need to know, okay, was that number 2 or number 3? You can't really see it, but it's like right behind here. There's like a little thing. Yeah, there it is. See, number 5. And we're on number 5. So everyone knows. There's a million little things like that. What is the best combination of the technology? How do you announce it? What do you do during the course? And don't worry, I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to send you these shows after the fact so you can watch them and pick up what you like. But this is absolutely the future, you guys, and it is completely changing the game. And you don't need to leave your house, and there are no booth fees, and there's no loading up the car and driving somewhere and staying in some crappy hotel and eating crappy food and then hoping you're going to see an ROI. There is no limit to the amount that you can run. It is the most beneficial use, highest ROI use of an artist or a photographer's time I could even imagine right now. It's not even close. And again, whole world's trying to figure it out. So those are the 3 ways to sell art. I got to get back to my pyramid. Bear with me. You have to be running all 3, and you have to be doing all 3 consistently all year long. So we start by constantly gathering attention. We start by recognizing the business model, collector list, as well as the 3 ways to sell art. Then we get to the top of the pyramid, which is everything else. What do I mean, everything else? You have a brick and mortar gallery that's working out for you, that's bringing in revenue to your business. Fantastic. We love revenue. I have never met a revenue source I don't like. Keep it going. But it's in addition, okay, not in lieu of working on attention, not in lieu of working on the 3 ways to sell art and building your own collector list. What if it's an online gallery? Maybe it's Saatchi or Fine Art America or Redbubble or Etsy or any of the others. Is it bringing in revenue? Fantastic. I've never met a revenue source I don't like, but it's in addition to everything else, okay? It's in addition to getting your own attention. It's in addition to the 3 ways of selling art. So too, if you're doing the show and Thayer circuit, we love the show and Thayer circuit. It's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come back. It is a great way to build attention, but it's in addition to those 2. You understand this pyramid, okay? You start working on this pyramid, and you are going to be on the path towards building a successful art or photography business. You don't, and you don't control the rules. You do not control the stakes. You can have the rug ripped out from underneath you at any point in time, which I've seen again and again and again on these calls. And one of the things that no one talks about, okay, and does not get mentioned enough. 3 of these a week for a year and a half, okay? It's not hyperbole. That many of them. Every single solitary week, there are people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and I would say once every 2 weeks, somebody in their 90s comes in on these calls asking questions. And so, why do I bring that up? Understand the perspective of how long you guys are going to be artists and photographers selling your art or photography, okay? You guys don't go through midlife crises. Doesn't happen to creatives. You don't decide all of a sudden you're going to stop being a painter and you're going to go rent jet skis in Florida for the summer and that's going to be your job, okay? So when you have the perspective figured out that you are going to be working at this for the rest of your life into your 90s in many cases, it underscores how important it is to understand this pyramid, to start working on this pyramid. And guess what? It's not going to be easy at first if you're just getting started. It's going to be a pain in the butt. You know, I'm looking at Rick there, and Rick, if you have not been building that list the entire time, when I'm telling you, you have to learn how to email market and social media market, and you need to start doing it on a regular basis, that could be frustrating, but it's not frustrating when you got another 25 years of growth in this doggone business. So, what does Art Storefronts do at the end of the day? We teach you how to do the pyramid. Yeah, we give you a website. And yeah, we put you into a university where there's no graduates because the learning never stops. That's really, in a nutshell, who we are, what we do. All right. Thanks for indulging me on the pre-recorded video. You know, even since recording that video, I feel like things move so quickly in this business. But I've done so many of these. I've talked to so many people. And one thing I've learned conclusively through a whole bunch of different stuff doing this job is on this call are people from all over this country and others. On this call are people in different subject matters, different age ranges, different price points, you know, different audience types and the rest. And, you know, aside from being creatives, there's only one thing that I know of that everyone on this call has in common. You know what that is? You all have a marketing problem. Every single solitary person on this call has a marketing problem. And I know it conclusively. I don't have to talk to a single solitary one of you to know it, right? Because every single solitary artist and photographer has a marketing problem. Even the ones that are like our customers that are kicking butt, let's say they're high six figures, knocking on the $1 million a year in revenue. They want to grow that business to $5 million a year. To do that, they got to fix the marketing problem. And everybody loves working on everything else except the primary problem, don't we? Right? Like, you know, the analogy I love to give is like your art business is a house, right? And I'm inside the house with you. And the marketing problem is the roof. And I'm sitting here telling you, guys, your house doesn't have a roof. We are getting rained on and snowed on. And what do you guys all do? And I'm not knocking you guys because I spent a career doing this too. You're working on the bathroom, right? Or you're out in the backyard dealing with the landscaping, right? Or you're putting up new wallpaper in the kitchen or whatever and not fixing the main problem. And until you fix the main problem, the business is not going to grow. It's not going to build year after year after year after year. And it's like, you know, one of the most interesting things is one of the things that we do as a marketing team to like evaluate how effective our marketing is we look at the folks that fill out the little demo request form on our website, right? And we have some advanced technology to pair your email. Now I know your website is. A lot of times you put the website in the box. I look at the social profiles and, you know, an artist, a photographer that is consistently marketing correctly is like Bigfoot. Everyone's heard about it. No one's ever seen it. I've looked at all the websites. I've looked at all the social profiles. No one is doing it correctly. And it's just such a massive, massive disconnect in this industry. And if there's one thing nobody wants to do, where do you think the highest ROI is? Doing that one thing nobody wants to do. So we can get into all these various different things. As I said, sort of in the pre-recorded thing, you know, I really want this session to be valuable. I have a ton of data at my fingertips. I've been doing this for a long time. I would love to help you, whatever you're struggling with, anywhere in your business that you just like, hey, I got a question about this, or anything digital marketing related, or of course, anything that we do at Art Storefronts. I'd love to answer those questions. So Q&A time. How do we do it? If you're one of the brave ones with the cameras on, okay, Sharon, Shayla, Michael, Barry, Karen, appreciate you guys. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, and I'll see that, you know, the old school fashion. For everyone else, though, at the bottom of your Zoom thing here, there is like this reactions button. It's a little smiley face with like a plus sign on it. And there's an ability to raise your hand digitally in there. You can see that I just did it, and that will let me know, hey, you've got a question, unmute this person next, and let's get into the Q&A. And you can throw your questions in the chat. We can deal with those too. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to turn your camera on. I hate being on video. I totally get it if you hate being on video. So there's that too. And normally I say if you're watching on the social media sites, but all the social media sites are down. So if you're watching on YouTube, those ones are still up, I can see. I see your questions, and I can bring those into the Q&A as well. So that's what we'll do. And, you know, as a final, before we get into the questions, more art and photography is traditionally sold in Q4, the last 3 months of the year, in many cases for many folks, more so than the other 3 quarters combined in some cases. but a significantly larger amount. And so all the sales that we track across our platform, it essentially, the sales double in October, and this is just all of our customers at a macro. The sales double in October, they triple in November, and they go back to a 1.5 multiplier in December. And you know what the difference is between winning and losing in Q4? Just being in the game, doing some marketing, okay, and having a sale when the time is appropriate. And you guys can win. You guys can win. So we're still all spending all this time at home and usually not going back to the office. And you know, as a result of that, everything in the home decor category is still doing well. That means art. So it's gonna be a big Q4, huge Q4. So I want you guys all in the game and running a sale this time and not sitting on the sidelines like you did the last 25 Q4s. Yeah, so I'd say. But okay, who's got a question? Who wants to start us off? Who wants to be brave? And the only ones I can pick on are the ones with the cameras on. So Karen, Sharon, Shayla, anyone? Raise your hand. Let me know. Good. All right, Shayla's going to go, then Karen's going to go. Thank you for being brave. I appreciate you guys. Shayla, go ahead. You'll have to unmute. It's in the bottom left-hand corner. You just click like the little microphone icon. So yeah, if you look at your little black Zoom window, at the very bottom left-hand corner is like a mic icon. And if you just click it once, like a button, then it'll unmute you. Yep, gotcha.
Okay, so it's me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think you're based in Texas, correct?
Well, we used to be based in Texas. Now we are, like everyone else, a company of the internet. We have people all over the place.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was based in Oklahoma,
okay,
and now I'm in LA.
Okay.
And I love LA, but LA has this very close-knit set of system of artists that they dominate the market, and it is tough to break into it. And it has been mainly a struggle trying to get a networking thing going on.
Mhm.
So, and if you go to my website, I actually had 2 developers on it, and then they left. And I actually had to learn how to do all of that. I'm doing the social media. I'm on Amazon.com. I'm on Walmart. I am on my website in so many ways is flawless, but still the online is not going. And I haven't figured that out because with the pandemic hitting, like you said, everything, especially in LA, shut down. Everything.
I know.
So the art was nothing. So I hit the studio 24/7. I created over 100 pieces.
Amazing.
So now it's showtime.
It's showtime. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, so I love that I don't love that you're working on the website. That's an utter, total, and complete waste of your time. Something you shouldn't be doing. That's number one.
Yes.
And number two, I love that you're marketing or working on marketing, but probably not focused on the right stuff. It's hard to know, right? To like know what the high ROI sources are. We can for sure help you. And for those 100 pieces that you have, you need to run a live art show and call it a sale and do it immediately.
I think I am. I love that idea. I think now I am all up. I mean, as you were talking, my brain was going a million different directions.
I love that.
And I was, thank you. I really appreciate just every little thing that you were saying, and I was listening. So great job. My whole thing is now I got to do that online art show you just mentioned with the, number 1, number 5, and get people excited. Yes. I'm thinking I'm going to be doing a wine show, send people a bottle of wine and say, watch this event. I mean, I'm going to be out, but the end result, I'm just thinking as you're talking about this.
Yeah. And one thing I would say too, Shayla, and I only live 45 minutes south of you. I'm in Orange County. I'm in Newport Beach, so I'm close to you.
Well, then we should meet.
I don't agree with the premise of where you started though. The premise of where you started was, LA has this really tight-knit scene and it's hard to break into, and they're exclusionary and snooty and all of that. And that may be the case, but The bullshit in that statement is that you need any of those yahoos, or you need to worry about any of those yahoos,
Yes.
or you need to be in a gallery. Like the beautiful thing about the way the world lives, the way the world is, the world that we live in right now is the art industry. I include photographers in the art industry. Some people get snooty about that, but the art industry is going through its blockbuster Netflix moment. It is going through its Uber taxi cab moment, okay? And it is starting to wake up that the gallery relationship is bullshit, okay? And I'm sorry, I got it. One of my buddies is on here. Pardon
No,
my French.
don't worry about it.
Sorry, Wesley, but it is. And the reason it's bullshit is because a 50-50 split and you do not retain the information on who is purchasing your work is not sustainable. That is a tenant-farmer relationship, okay? You might get a couple of bucks and a roof over your head, but when you leave, the only thing that you're going to leave with is the shirt on your back. It is not sustainable to build a business that way. And again, I've been doing this for a long time now, and I have access to the data of who's really working well. And it's like the collector list, I would place the size and the health of the collector list. The health is how often you're communicating with it, nurturing it, as either the number one or the number two most important metrics that map to the size of a business. That's how important it is. And when you sell in a gallery, you have no idea who's buying your work. How can you market to them in the future? You can't, right? And so the years go by, year after year after year, you have no idea who's purchasing your work. You have no ability to get collectors, and the collectors just keep buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. And they'll go along for a ride with you for your entire art creating world. And I said the line earlier, I said about perspective, like week in, week out, I'm on these calls, and there are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and occasionally even in their 90s. So you look at that and you contemplate how much time you guys have left in your career to get this right. Like the collector list just compounds. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going. So really, really important. We can help you. You need to get a demo. You need to get a demo. I'll have somebody. I don't know if you filled out that form yet or not, but I'll have somebody contact you.
Okay, great.
We can help you.
Thank you.
And start thinking about which pieces that you're going to have on your live art show.
I will.
And then you have one of these, I trust. I think
yes.
I think you should run. I think you should run the live art show this week.
I will.
This week.
I will.
Go into your studio,
yes.
turn this thing on, and let's do this. I'll send you some follow-up resources.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for being brave on the first question.
Sure.
Okay, Karen, you're up next. Go ahead, Karen. You need to unmute too, Karen. We don't have you yet. Bottom left-hand corner, one click on the mic icon. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would be interested in doing some live video shows for sure. I'm a printmaker, so I have a lot of multiples.
Yeah.
So, a lot of work to sell. And I was just wondering.
What do you mean when you say you're a printmaker? You just do the printing yourself?
Yeah, I do liner cuts.
Got it.
So, yeah, so I produce them all myself. And I was just wondering, when you have that, when the live show is going and you have that ribbon across the bottom with all these calls to action and things.
Yeah.
How do you get that there? Did you say that was something called wireless Apple iPods or something?
No. So,
or was that something else?
Yeah. It's something else. So, it's funny, right? Because when you get into the live art show thing, there's so much baggage involved and wrapped in it, right? And the sort of the analogy I give is like, if I was teaching you to ride a bike, do you know what we would do? We'd open the garage, we'd take the bike out into the street, you'd jump on the bike, start pedaling, fall down a couple of times, and then eventually figure it out with some practice, right? But do you know what everyone asks? And this is the live art show analogy. Well, what's the best bike to have? What's the best time to ride a bike? Do I need to worry about it? How many people are going to be on the street when you ride the bike? No, ride the bike. So the point is, video-enabled commerce is utterly, totally, and completely the future. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can rant on it for hours on why that is. To do your first one, all you need is this. All you need is this, and go the phone. You have an iPad, you can do it with an iPad, or you can even do it with your laptop. Go to the social network where you have the most attention. So if you have the most attention on Facebook, do it on Facebook. If you have the most attention on Instagram, do it on Instagram. And after you're done, email it to your entire list. Just start there. Just focus on that, nothing else. Don't worry about anything else to begin with.
So you do the show live, but it's being
streamed,
recorded, and then it's just available for people to look at any time.
Yep.
And does this become a YouTube video? Can
It
you
does.
make it?
Yeah, it does if you stream it to YouTube, or it does if you download it after the fact and upload it to YouTube. Yeah, it does.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have uploaded things to YouTube
Yep.
before,
Yep.
but usually from my own file in my own
Mm-hmm.
system.
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, you're saying just don't worry about getting
Exactly.
that
Just
call
do
to
it.
action
Yep.
thing
Yep.
there. You just refer people verbally to your site or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Or you don't even make it that difficult. You say, "Hey guys, it might as well just highlight this because both you and Shayla are going to be running one this week. Hey guys, it's me, Patrick, and I'm feeling good today. So I guess I should do. It's I can't do it. It's just too weird with my webcam. But it's me, Patrick. I decided to have a flash sale today. Why not? I'm feeling generous, and I have these acrylic prints of this beautiful autumnal. I can never say that word. Autumnal.
Autumnal. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. That I've seen. These things are normally $375. But because I'm feeling pretty good today, I'm having a flash sale on them. I'm going to charge $275. I take Venmo, PayPal. You can send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. You can email me COD if you want to. And there you go.
Oh, okay.
See how quickly I just did that? Done. Done.
And when you were referring to those numbers, referring to each piece, is that just so that it makes them easier? It makes it easier for them to say which piece they want?
Yeah, exactly right. Because what happens is when you get advanced at it, you're streaming to Instagram with the phone, because the only way you can stream to Instagram is via the phone. They don't let you use software or anything else. And so the phone does Instagram, right? The wireless AirPods are connected. I'm telling you all the advanced bike riding stuff, Karen. You got me ranting about it now, Karen. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. So the phone and the wireless AirPods handle the audio to Instagram, right? And then the laptop is sat right next to the phone, right? And the laptop is taking care of Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn, wherever else you have. And so those two just let you cover all the networks. Well, the problem is you can only put the fancy graphics on the computer version. You can't put it on Instagram, right? And so, you run into these problems with, like, what was the name of that one piece? Can you go back? And it was 2 pieces, but no, it was number 6, right? It was number 6. But to be honest with you, it's like, I've run so many of these things at this point. People think this is like hyperbole. Like I see it so clearly as the absolute complete future of how this whole thing's going to go. Like I've put a ton of development now into our software, and this is where we are so far. So this is the page that houses all the pieces during the show and after the show. Okay. And I developed this thing from scratch, and I'll kind of talk about some of the finer points. But what's really interesting is you basically take a bunch of images, and we'll scroll down, we'll look at his. You take a bunch of images, all as one folder, you drop it, it uploads instantaneously, and it makes this grid. And then you just go through and you title this one, that one, the other one, right? And they don't even need to be like super high-end photographs of any of them. It could just be whatever. And what's great is during the show, if somebody's watching it, and they click buy now, this little side cart comes out. They can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever they want. It takes 2 seconds. And then most importantly, when it's done, you have a little sold thing on it instantaneously, right? And then, after the show is over, here's the YouTube video from the show, right? And then he can take this page, send it to everyone that missed the show, and they can like look at him talking about a piece, and they can say, ooh, that elephant one, I want it. And then they can go down here to the elephant one and buy it, right? So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the iteration. And I've already like updated this page 5 times. And notice how there's a share button, the shopping cart, and you can't click anywhere else because I don't want anyone leaving it. I don't want anyone going anywhere but here and buying. That's the ball game. So anyway, that's one of the cool new features that we've cooked up.
Oh, that's part of the Art Storefronts
yeah.
platform. Okay.
Because again, early on, what you discover happens is like when you don't have it all up on a website, you're like, okay, well, just send me a Venmo, or you can send me or send me a message on Instagram if you want one, right? Or send me a message on Facebook, or if you want one, or email me or text me or whatever. And then you've got all these people coming in from all these various different sources, and you're like, well, who's first? Who got it? Did I get it? And you have multiple people bidding, and it's like, it just solves for all those. But again, Karen, these are advanced bike riding techniques, okay? Bike out of the garage, on the driveway, ride it down the street. Fall down a couple of times. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So, should this be done out of my professional page, where actually at this point I don't even have as big a following on that as I do
Yeah, in
in
a
my
perfect
personal?
world, you would use software and do both at the same time. But you don't need to worry about that for now. Honestly, you got to just run one. And you know what the crazy thing is that like we are all of us on some level terrified about being on video, right? Like nobody likes being on video. Nobody likes talking on video. Everyone gets so nervous, and it's been really a challenge for me. Like if I have one superpower in the world, it's like figuring technological things out before anyone else does and being first. And I've seen it with this, and I'm not the only one. Like there is not a single solitary venture capitalist in the valley right now in California that doesn't have an investment in some sort of video first commerce. Okay, you can go onto Amazon right now, start your own QVC channel. Did you know that? Have you seen that popping up yet? You can just sell Amazon products, and it's linked directly there. They give you all the technology. It's just the future, full stop. And where was I going with that rant? So I come up with these results, right? And I'm telling these stories, and it's like they're gobsmacking, right? Like the 2 shows with my buddy Matthew where he sold $32,000 Canadian, 60 pieces in 15 days without leaving his house, not paying anyone 50-50 splits and keeping his customer data. Like that's insane, right? And since then, I'm not kidding. I've done myself, my team, we've done hundreds of them. And do you have any idea how hard I'm having to work to get my customers over the line doing them? Because they're terrified, right? And so I'm having to run these like giant contests for my customers, okay? And it's so funny because I run these giant contests for the customers, and everyone's doing it for the first time, and everyone is so damn nervous and so awkward. I had one gal, God bless her, because if you can't laugh at yourself, Instagram is a vertical platform, right? Like when you look at it, we look at it like this, right? And we scroll like this. She turned the phone sideways and recorded her show. So the whole show, she's like this, holding the pieces like this. And, you laugh at yourself and you realize like you're going to be doing thousands of these, okay? It is the future of how this product is going to be sold. So you got to just start getting them in the water.
See, the odd thing is I'm actually sort of a ham, and I'm very comfortable.
Yeah, you are, Karen.
Also a
Yeah, you
performer.
are. I love it.
So it's the techie stuff that scares me.
I handle that.
But
Yep.
as far as hamming it up,
Yep. So you got to run one. You got to run one this week. I heard IT. You got IT right next to you. So let's giddy up and let's go. You and Shayla running one this week.
You hear that, dear?
I hear that.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
about.
Okay. Right. Oh, and as far as like selling before the you were referring to people selling even before the show opens. Is that just in terms of making
No,
an
you-
announcement ahead of time? I'm
you're-
going to be doing this
you're-
video, and as a
you're making
result,
me-
people-
You're making me give away all the tradecraft, Karen. No, I don't care. No one's going to do it anyway, so I'll give away all the tradecraft. So this being new territory, and you've never run one, most people have never run one, our tendency, okay, and I find like this is like everything digital, right? Because it's called a live art show, in our minds is the real art show, right? And how stressful that is, and everything that goes into the planning and the preparation and opening night, and that the whole song and dance, right? Stated another way, we tend to think of the live art show process is the live art show itself is the main course of the meal. Guess what? It's not. It's an appetizer. You know what's just as important? I'll give you the whole damn rundown right now. I don't even care. You're gonna have the live art show on Wednesday, okay? On Sunday, you're gonna email your collector list, and you're gonna say, collectors, I just want to let you know I'm having a live art show on Wednesday. Because of you guys supporting me in the past and because I love you, you guys get first crack at the show. Here it is. And you give them the entire page, right? And you show them all the works, however you're going to do that, however you can do that. If you guys want any of them, just let me know. Obviously, you got to go first. Then on Monday, you announce the show is on Wednesday, except the entire store is open and all the pizzas can be bought already. Then on Wednesday, you actually run the show, okay? And you sell whatever you sell. And look, here's the other dirty little secret. Well, Patrick, I'm not very active on social media. I don't have that many followers. Well, guess what? Only your mom is going to see the show live anyway, okay? Because she follows everything you do anyway, right? Or your significant other. Otherwise, no one's going to see it. Doesn't matter. You run the show, you do the best you can, and then you email it to your entire list after the fact. That's the game. I just gave you the keys to the castle, Karen.
Okay.
Yeah, and Shayla, both you guys do it this week. Let's go. Giddy up.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Gene's asking if that live show function page is available on all the plans. It sure is. And I just keep hacking at it and hacking at it and hacking at it too. It's amazing. But you know, when you look at that page again, like in context, it's like, do you know how powerful this is? Like, you run the show, you grab the video, you throw it in here, and you email it to everyone that didn't see it, right? Like, let's remember, your mother-in-law is your mother's only going to be the only one that saw it live anyway, right? Doesn't matter, right? And you know, you run them. And again, the entire world's trying to figure it out. The entire art selling world's trying to figure it out. And he's running another show, and so he's including some of the pieces he didn't sell. But I mean, this guy had never run one before at all. Now, granted, he's like a rock photographer that has like really good access. You know, he's got some insane photos in here. I don't even know how these people trust him. You know, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, like he knows people. I mean, look at how rad this guy is actually. You know, I don't know how many Rolling Stones fans there are, but you look at the open of this show, look who he's with, which is really sad because the guy just died. That's the Rolling Stones drummer. Like, just died like a couple weeks ago. Totally sucks. Guy was a legend. Anyway, you know, this was his first show doing it. It was like a bunch of pieces that he would like carry around to his live art shows, like his real, like, you know, like show and fair circuit thing. And so that a bunch of them are dinged up, but you know, his first one out of the gate, he sold a couple $1,000s worth of stuff. He's like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even have to leave the house, you know? So it's phenomenal. It's the future. And, you know, between now and the end of the year, I mean, the sheer amount of times that we're going to have our customers running him is going to be absolutely staggering all the time. And again, too, like, you know, I showed in my screen share example, but if I go back to, oh yeah, I love doing this. Just
this one. This is one.
1, 2, 3. It's like 4. You know what you notice about all these people? They look just like you guys. There's no hair. There's no makeup. There's no special camera stuff. I mean, you know, Karen here's wearing white gloves. You know, but they don't live in giant mansions. They're normal looking human beings, just like the rest of us, right? And weird things are happening in their shows. Their animals are coming in. You know, Tony did his in his garage, right? Like, you know, it's just cool because you get the personality of each person in them, you know, and like, they're just so fun. And ones keep popping in here in this playlist that I'm not even running. My team's running. I don't even know who these people are. It's amazing. Let alone the contest we ran, right? So the point is, you can do it, right? Like, were you guys not seeing the screen share the whole time? Doggone it. Tell me that. I was going through this whole thing. I'm just saying, like, okay, now I'm going to rewind the whole thing. You know what we noticed about these people, right? they look just like you. They are normal humans. There's no hair. There's no makeup. The photographers always tend to have a little bit better cameras, though, because, you know, every fancy new DSLR is like also a video camera, and so they just plug their like crazy high-end camera into the thing. But you don't need to do that. You can do it with a cell phone, right? Like, it's just they're just simple, normal people doing their thing. Weird headphones. You know, it's strange, different rooms. Oh yeah, and here's the Karen wearing gloves. Okay, no, I feel like him. Oh yeah, and then I love Tony's background. Well, this one's interesting too. You know, I mean, she had purple hair in hers. Like, nobody cares, right? Like, we all have homes, we all live in them. He's in his garage. You know, he's a surf guy, so he's got a bunch of surfboards racked up. Like, awesome, right? Like, looks like a normal garage to me. So anyway, that's what I would say. Future of the world. And it's also going to be a massive differentiator, you know, why people continue to join us, because it's so new and there's so much tradecraft and there's so much nuance for it that the playbook is being written on how best to do it now, right? And, you know, the running the show early, you know, running the sale early, and, you know, hitting the collector list, and how you email and what you do day of and what you do day after, like, all of that tradecraft is moving so fast. And, like, you know, how to stream on all the services at once. So we're pioneers on it, and we'll continue to be. And it's like, it's completely democratized. It's like, you know, an amusement park just got opened up that no one's ever been in, and so you just run in there as fast as you can. And sorry, April, for yelling at you. April said your video is not showing. I just didn't see it, so thank you. All right, what else? Yeah, you see the chat here, Karen? Okay, see the chat here, Shayla? Gene saying, you know, we need to have a follow-up to Sheridan and Shayla's live art show. So there's some accountability structure coming in already. I love it. I love it. Okay, who else? Guys, questions? If your camera's on, you can do the old-fashioned hand raise. Oh, good for you, Wesley. You got your camera on for once. See, all right. You Wesley, not too long. Not too long. I'm unmuting you. Wesley's angry at me because he's a gallery. But Wesley, you don't really,
hey, Patrick.
You don't really.
Yeah.
You don't represent.
Yeah, here's the deal. I've been a big fan of this live art show. The very first time I saw you do that basement one with Matthew, you know, it was great. And you're right. This is the best way to try to get some traction. I'm still bumping along, but the big breakthrough for me recently is I'm now, I think, down to 8 months before I retire from my day job, right? Which is holding me back because I work for somebody who wouldn't be too thrilled to know that I'm trying to do something on the side. So,
Understood.
But I'm close enough now. If they catch up with me, I don't care. So I'm going to do my first live art show. And I think you've already answered this question, and I hope you don't think this is a shiny penny. I know you always get after me about that.
Yep.
Or I just see it as another line in the water. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And that's what I think you've advised. We should strive, and it makes perfect sense. We should strive to do our live art shows to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube is important because, you know, a lot of people on my mailing list don't even have socials, right? So they're not going to sign up for Facebook or Instagram to attend my live art show. So I just direct them to YouTube.
And YouTube's.
And you don't do this. There's no single service out there that will allow me to stream to all three services concurrently or simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
true.
There's some hacky ways that you can do it, but Instagram, it's against Instagram's terms of service. And being someone that's had my Instagram account banned more times than I would care, you got to toe the line. If Instagram says no, then it's no. So you have to use one of these things for Instagram. Don't stay in your lane. Don't color outside the lines.
And this is a techie question, but since you've already represented, you love the tech. Let me just ask this quickly. So I know how to set up to do two, Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. And then, as you say, you use either a cell or some other second camera. And I notice that's how you guys do it. Is the bandwidth typically powerful enough to handle both streams? Because, you know, you're uploading a lot of bits and bytes here. Is the average home network able to manage that, Patrick? Usually.
It sometimes depends on the connection. That's one of the things that, you know, we have everybody run a speed test and see what their signal looks like.
This is in your hidden playbook that I'm not going to get access to before my life.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
But don't worry about it, Wesley. Like, run a test. Right.
Oh yeah. I've got enough. I could do a preview or whatever with my mother. You're right. No, she's too old. But my sisters and some other close associates. So that's a great idea, Patrick. Okay. That's all I have.
And congrats on retirement. Yeah, congrats on retirement.
Yeah. And then that's holding me back. I can now kind of get out there a little bit more, and it's going to be huge to be able to actually admit who I am, first of all, and then come from there and show my face to do what you have to do on these live videos. You gotta connect with people and
know, like, and trust.
Excited about what you're showing them, and then they connect with you, and then more likely to buy. So it's obviously it's worked so well for so many of your customers. I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm still concerned that I don't have enough of a following. But you said something today about the beauty of doing it and then leaving everything up and then guiding people to that. And then if they want to watch it again, I mean, there's just that marketing advantage to be able to see somebody presenting the piece.
You better believe it. Yep. You better believe it.
Yeah. So that makes it, because I'm afraid, of course, only 4 or 5 people are going to show up, right? Because I have still a pretty thin following. But there's an advantage to do it just for that reason alone.
Exactly.
Think about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Wesley.
Thanks, Patrick. Good.
When you think about it, like, really the live art show was just another email. You just send in another email. That's all it is, really, at the end of the day. Like, going live. I mean, I go live, and you know, I should mention, I hate being on video, just like all the rest of you. And I'll get your question next, Sharon. I hate it. Okay, I have a face for radio. I don't ever want to be on video. And prior to the pandemic, I never was. I ran the marketing department in this company for like 7 years or 6.5 years or whatever, and I had all kinds of audio things, and I would make videos where I wasn't on camera, but never once on camera. Since then, we're going live sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes 6 days a week, because it's that effective, right? Like, So I'm not trying to sit up here and be some sort of guru like I read this out of someone else's blog post. Okay, I'm doing this every single solitary day, and it is not for my health. It is because it's insanely effective, right? Like it just works. Go, Sharon, you're up next. You have to unmute. Yep, gotcha.
All right. My question is totally different. I am part of a business group that is helping me learn the business side of things. And so they do networking events on Zoom. And so I guess my question is, I have a hard time because a lot of the other companies are different than ART. And so their pitches are a little bit different. And I don't know if it's a good place for me to network and how to make my pitch so that it fits in, because a lot of people, they're focusing on what problem are they solving. And I know my why and why I do my art, but I struggle with, I guess, my pitch in that arena.
And you're asking me how to help you with your pitch in your networking groups or just across the board?
Yes. And is that the right place for me to be as far as networking, or is it even worth my time to do that sort of thing?
Yeah, in my estimation, no, it's not. Anything that we do in business, and really anything that we do with our time, you have to ask yourself the ROI question. Like, yeah, you can do it and it might actually be worth your time, but is it the best use of your time to grow that business? I would argue networking events are not. They're just not. Like, doing the actual marketing is. Like, and marketing's a loaded word. There's a lot in there, right? You got to always be capturing emails. You always got to be emailing those emails. You have to be posting on the socials on a regular basis. You have to run sales when the time is right and understand all those mechanics. And you have to start running live art shows. Did you go to KU, by the way?
No, my husband did. I say I'm a Jayhawk by marriage.
Yeah. One of our like really she's become like an amazing friend at this point, but she has a really, really interesting story. You should send this to your husband. You might like it. So she went to KU and she actually got the official license from KU to reproduce the Jayhawks and sell the Jayhawks. And it's like a really interesting story how she went to like a quarry and like got like actual rock chalk and like put it in the paint for like the the originals. But she sold just a ton of these, and then she did another one with this one's like the I guess the basketball stadium, the field house. She sold this original for a ton. She's killing it, but she's like a KU gal to the core. But her name's Meg Knappenberger, and you can just Meg makes art. Or just, could be a cool gift for your hubby if he really loves everyone that goes to that school just goes nuts for the sports there. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Definitely.
Any other questions, Sharon?
Well, I think the main thing is, the thing I like about these networking things is that usually you're together as a group and then you get into smaller breakouts. So you get.
Is it growing, people. Sharon? Are they growing the business currently?
Not for me.
Then don't delude yourself into thinking you're going to those things for anything other than your own personal entertainment. It's not helping. It's not helping you grow your business.
All righty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They can be fun though. They can be fun, but it's not. If it's not helping you grow your business, then you're not growing your business. And if that's your stated objective, do that, right? Remember what I said about everyone's house is the art business and there's no roof. You're working on the front door, Sharon. We got to work on that roof. We got to fix the marketing problem, right? Like that's just how it goes. Oh yeah, sorry. Did I mute you again? Here, if you have a follow up, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mute you.
So, where are you finding your collectors then? I guess that's
so. Yeah, so the whole thing, it just comes down to consistent marketing, right? And it was sort of like what I said, like it's everything that you do online and offline, right? But you need to learn how to capture emails. You need to be capturing emails all year long. You need to be emailing those emails, regular content, not just sales content. You need to be you need to be taught omni-channel marketing. What omni-channel marketing is, you have a sale. Let's just say, keep it simple. Hey, let's say I'm having a live art show. Okay, Shayla and Karen, I'm having a live art show. Starts on Wednesday, and then you do a Facebook post that completely dovetails with the messaging in the email. I'm having a live art show. It's going to be on Wednesday. And then you do an Instagram post that dovetails with that. And then you do an Instagram story that dovetails with that. And so you're in omni channels, right? All at once. Then you need to be having sales when the time is right. You need to learn how to do that. And guess what? You're going to be working on this for years. So you got to get good at all the above. That's what we teach. We can help you. You should get a demo too. And no more networking events unless you really enjoy them for fun. Okay. Yeah. I had to give you some tough love there, but I hate those things. I really do. I think I'm not even going to get into it. Go ahead, Lee. I see you. I've unmuted you, I think.
Yeah, I'm unmuting now.
Okay.
Got me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. I'm making a transition slowly and slower than I hoped.
Yeah.
From career as a technical writer for about 35 years. And I got a lot of the technology side down. I built a couple of websites on WordPress. I've done support and built websites of, excuse me, on DreamHost. A couple other things that I built sites on. And I know that piece of the business somewhat. Early on, I did a LeeBeasley.com, locked that down, and I've been paying for it about 15 years. So I'll put it to use if you know that story. And I'm in a transition. I didn't make my living as a photographer. I've never sold a piece of photography except as part of my journalism career prior to being a technical writer. And in that career, I was an art critic and a photo critic, primarily photo critic. Wrote a lot of feature stories, wrote regular reviews every week, but that was 40 years ago. I've lost that connection to a lot of those people for various reasons. You don't stay in touch, but I've been slowly building that back. I've got X number of followers, like 352 on Facebook, 223 on Instagram, 500 plus on LinkedIn, which is all my technology links, not art links. And then I've got Instagram. Did I say that? Yeah, 223 followers, and I'm following about 500, 700 people.
Okay.
So I'm starting to roll over some of my photographs as I'm taking them onto Facebook, and so friends see them. And I have a very tightly curated Facebook group, but it's not primarily people in the business. It's friends that go back and friends of friends, a lot of writers and artists in that group that, go back. So how would I make that transition to marketing to the people I already have in place, and also taking into consideration that LinkedIn is the largest number of people I have.
Yeah.
But they know me in another world.
Yeah. That's okay. Like, one of the things that's important to understand about making it in this business is that you're a part of the brand, Lee Beasley, as much as the work is, right? And that's just how it works, right? Like, your personality is a big part of the brand too. So you just start marketing. You let those people know that you have photographs. None of them probably do know that you have photographs available, and they already know. They already like you. They already trust you. So, you just start in on consistent marketing, and, the score takes care of itself. That's it. Like, there's the tendency to worry about all these small little nonsensical things early on, and we all do it, right? I've done it 1,000 times in my career. All you have to do is start in on marketing, do it consistently, and never stop, and the business continues to grow. The minute you stop, the business stops growing. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I'm taking baby steps right now, Patrick.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out the next baby step, but I'm also juggling.
The next baby step for you, Lee, I'll tell you, is you can't have the marketing problem until you solve the validation problem. And the validation problem is that you need to sell your work to people not named, mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends. Okay, because they'll do anything. They'll buy anything, right? You have to sell to strangers. And once you sell to strangers, then you have a product the market wants, okay? And if you have a product the market wants, then you have a marketing problem. But until then, you don't know, right? And, that's a very, very important concept, because what a lot of people tend to do is they will They'll say, okay, I'm going to get my career started. I'm going to do this. I've never sold before, but I know I will sell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend all this time, energy, and effort in getting all my images up on a website. And then I'm going to spend all this time and energy and effort on marketing and getting the email and learning all these things and getting better at it and da. And then you find out nobody wants to work, right? Now, nobody wants to work. That's a whole nother ball of wax, right? That I can get into in a second. But let me give you an analogy. Different way of thinking about it, an easier way of thinking about it. You and I are cooks, and we've always wanted to have our own restaurant, okay? And I go about it the wrong way. You go about it the right way. I go about it the wrong way because you know what I do? I spend 2 months working on a business plan, and then I take the business plan down to the bank, and I'm down there for a month hammering out my loan, and I get a small business loan, and then I go running around town finding a location. And I rent a building for 2 years, and then I rent all the equipment, right? And then I get the tables and the tablecloths, and I hire a maitre d', and I'm doing the menus and everything else, and then I open, and you know what I find out? Nobody wants to eat my food. You know how much time I just wasted? Years. You know what you did? You're like, okay, I want to start a restaurant. You went to Costco and bought a rolling cart. You put your tacos on there. You had a little sign that said Lee's Tacos, and you rolled it right into an office building, okay? Kind of like Karen running her art show this week. This week, Karen. And you rolled it right into an office building, okay? And you put up a sign and you started selling the tacos, right? And you know what you found? They liked them, but they didn't love them, right? They're like, yeah, that was okay, thanks, but don't come back tomorrow kind of a thing, right? And you're like, okay, no worries. And you went home, and then you got the sign, and you erased everything from the sign, and then you said, Lee's Burgers, and you pushed it into another office building the next weekend. And guess what happened? There was a line around the block. The burgers were so good, everyone was like, oh my God, Lee, these are incredible. You got to start a restaurant. Well, guess what? In 2 weeks, you just figured out what your home run product was, right? Versus me, I wasted an entire year and all that money, time, energy, and effort, right? And, you know, this is a fundamental thing when you're just getting started. You have to sell to strangers. Now, pre-pandemic, it was easier, but things are kind of opened up now. You know, get to a local fair or show or farmer's market or somewhere you can get a booth, or just go completely guerrilla and set up a table somewhere without even asking, and have some prints and see if you can sell them. Have some conversations and see if you can sell them. That's the fastest way to do it in today's day and age.
I'm having conversations right now with a couple of people that go back a long time in the business, and they know their business very well, art consultants and curators, and getting some good feedback. So I know I got something that's got a good thing to sell. I mean, I can wrap a story around it. I was doing street photography for a long time, and the images I know where they come from. But about a year ago, I realized that there's a street under my feet.
Yep.
And you can abstract what you see in a way that it's like abstract art, and I love art.
Yeah.
And I could see the pattern there emerging. So I've spent the last year just really focusing on the street itself. So I've got a story that I can tell. We walk on the street every day, but we ignore what's under our feet.
Okay.
And so that's the pitch. I mean, it's the getting part.
Yeah, the why. I love it. The artist statement. But at the same time, you know, when you say like, you know, you got some curators and whatever, some gallery directors, and they've really given you some great feedback. If I drive you down to the ATM machine, Lee, you show me the button on there for great feedback that spits dollars out. You'll find that it doesn't exist on the ATM machine. The only thing that does is the sale, right? Which is why it's the truth, right? Like, you've got to sell the work. Like, you know, I've
got to make an investment in the future, and I'm transitioning to make that investment, but I'm still doing a day job.
Yep. And, you could spend $800 or $900 and have enough inventory to do a show. You could probably spend $500 and have enough inventory for a show.
Yeah. No, I know. Time is another part of the equation. Time and money.
Yeah.
You know, when I bill out by hourly rate, and I do that all the time, it's hard to transition that mindset to doing another mindset, and medical bills and stuff too. So
yeah.
You know, I'm rolling in baby steps, like I said.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's enough for me right now. Let somebody else talk.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. I appreciate it. Good questions, though. Definitely good questions. You know, the funny thing too is, like, we all have this tendency to internalize criticism, right? So let's say you've never sold your work before, and I love this story. You never sold your work before, and you go to sell your work, and it's crickets. No one buys it at all. Like, what so many people do in that situation is like, oh my God, my parents were right. This is all just a hobby, right? or art doesn't sell, or I'm not talented enough, or all of these various different things, or blaming people, or, you know, this, that, and the other. And they just don't teach this in art school, right? You never got this class down at the college. Pablo Picasso had 45,000 pieces of unsold work in his inventory when he died. 45,000. At the end of that guy's life, he could have sold a signed piece of Kleenex for $1 million. Why did he have 45,000 pieces of unsold inventory? Because sometimes he produced stuff that nobody wanted. And did he quit? No. He said, you know what? Maybe next time I'll start with what the people actually want instead of what inspires me creatively and figure out how to sell that way, right? So point is that it's not a condemnation of you, right? Or a condemnation of your work. It's whether or not you have a product the market wants, right? And that's it. And also Pablo Picasso, when asked by a fellow artist just starting their career what advice that he could impart, and his advice was, early on my drawings did not command a high price, but they all sold. Your art must go out into the world. They all sold aside from that 45,000 that he had in inventory, obviously. But all right, that's what I got. So give it a shot, Lee. Give it a shot immediately. Order some prints and get it going. What else, guys? Questions? Okay, some people have to leave. All good. Yep. All right, Karen, I forgot you had a follow up. All right, go ahead. Good, Karen.
Oh, yeah. Now, the way my computer is set up, you can see that I just have a this cloth behind me, and there's really just like a rack of messy prints and things like that set up. So that's not much of a background. The studio itself, the only way that I'd be able to do it is with the phone.
Yeah.
It's more comfortable here. But is it a bad idea to run a sale if you don't have some kind of a studio background?
No.
To add to the ambiance?
No.
Really?
Run it outside.
I could just like hold work up.
100%.
And,
run it in the car. Doesn't matter. You can run it anywhere. I'm serious. Doesn't matter.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And also, I was just wondering about uploading like if I make this video originally on YouTube, I mean, on Facebook, how would I get that uploadable to YouTube?
It's not on Facebook.
You can download it from Facebook directly. Anywhere you stream from, you can essentially download directly. You just Google how to do it. So if you do it on Instagram, Google how to get a video down from Instagram. If you do it on Facebook, Facebook, it takes 2 seconds. It's just a download button. Done. Up to YouTube, it goes done.
And also, where's the best place to see, I imagine on your website somewhere, to see what an art storefront's website looks like? Or are there templates to choose from?
Yeah, they're really simple. I mean, the best thing to do is get a demo. So, you know, the demo is like a 1-hour Zoom call with our outreach team, and they'll walk you through the entire thing from start to finish and show you, you know, they cater to the whole presentation. You get to see all the bells and whistles and everything else. But the websites, believe it or not, are really, really simple. They're really, really, really simple. And, you know, I said this earlier, and it drives me nuts because we see who fills out our forms, and then we go and look at people's websites, right? And there are so many artists, so many photographers that are like, oh my gosh, my site is so good. I love it. It took me so long to get it to where it is. And I look at it, and do you know what they have all over it? Goofy colors and fonts and image sliders and nonsense and so much clutter. And when you look at our websites, do you know what they all look like? Minimalist, white backgrounds. You can have a dark background too, but white backgrounds, and the art is in the forefront. And what is the best way to what is the best way to buy art? It's in person, face to face. Where's the best place to buy art? At an art gallery. How many art galleries have you been into in your life where there's a bunch of goofy shit all over the walls and different colors and loud fonts? None of them. Every art gallery looks the same for a reason, because the art is front and center. That's all that should be there. There shouldn't be any other goofy stuff, right? And it's like so many people build their websites that way. So with us, there's no building the website. The website's already done. All you're doing is uploading your images, putting the logo up there, writing your artist statement about me, and then you're starting on your marketing. That's it. You're not designing anything. Like, you have very limited choices for a reason, because if we gave you free design, you know, ability, you would destroy the entire thing from even being effective at selling art. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I'm
I get fired
actually I have a site through Fazo.
Yep.
And I've only had it probably for about 2 years.
Yep.
And I do like the look of it. I'm finding that I'm just not really doing the marketing things that they recommend, which is, you know, my own fault.
Yep.
But I really like your point of view much better than the fellow there. And I feel like I could actually get motivated to do something with your inspiration. So that's why I'm kind of attracted.
It's really hard to do it. Like, you know, one of the things that we've learned, and there's actually like a buzzword for it now, and it's called cohort based learning, right? And so, you know, what everyone else does is like, hey, here's how to sell art online. Here's how to run Facebook ads. Here's how to execute a sale. Here's how to do this, that, and the other. And it's online education at your own pace, right? And we have that too. It's an important thing. But if you look at the stats from any of the giant providers, Kajabi, Masterclass, lynda.com, take your pick on any of those. It's like 25 to 35% of the people that sign up for the course finish it, because it's really hard to learn on your own in a vacuum. So cohort-based learning is essentially, here's the course, go take it, and then here's the class, and it's a Zoom call, and you're going to be in there with the teacher, and there's going to be Q&A, and there's going to be a bunch of your peers that are trying to do the same thing you are, going through it at the same time. So that's one of the biggest things that we do differently. We have office hours, and that's what these sessions are called, and they're Tuesdays, Thursdays, 50 weeks a year. And you're in there with your same people on a Zoom call just like this, asking questions, right? Finding out what's what, listening to the presentation, going over it, getting unstuck, right? And having the motivation and the accountability that you need to keep going. Mm-hmm. And by the way, when you talk to the Fazo guy next, tell him to stop copying my website.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. It's really flattering, but their whole like presentation and like language and offering looks strangely like ours, and that's been a recent change. He's in the borrowing language. I'm just kidding. I don't really care. They couldn't compete if their lives depended on it.
What do they say? Flattery is the highest form of imitation is
the highest form of flattery. Yeah,
is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah, I like it the other way around.
Yeah, and I poke fun, but you know it moves so damn fast now. This like technology and the whole marketing world, the goalpost moves so quickly that if you're not sprinting yourself, like you're already losing, right? And so like trying to copy somebody else, like you're already losing. You're not even going to be able to keep up. By the time you get what you think is important, everyone else is like 100 yards down the line already, right? Like you just constantly have to be moving and iterating so fast. Yeah, it's a crazy world that we live in, but it's super fun. And I think there's never been a better time ever in history to be an artist, full stop. And I go back, I always go back to my one buddy, Matthew, because he's like my ultimate archetype. I mean, he's been with the company for like a long time, like, become like a true dear friend. But these two sales, right? And this isn't even the one, it was one even way earlier in this, but these two sales, like, Matthew is like an insanely talented artist, right? So the images that are in these sales, and I got to go here, the images in these were like from his basement that he painted like 18 years ago. Okay, so it's not even representative of his new work. The guy's crazy talented. I should show some of his new stuff. But the fact that here he is in his garage, which is also his studio where he paints, right? And ran these two sales with these old works, made $30,000, and didn't have to leave the house. And after he was done, he had to, so he lives in like Laval, which is in a suburb of Quebec in Canada. He sold some stuff to Canada. He sold some stuff into the United States. He sold some stuff into Central America. He had to ship one piece to Asia and two to Europe after it was done. And it's like, I look at that and I'm like, man, that is staggering, because here's a guy who would used to do the full dog and pony show, schedule a gallery sale, or a gallery opening, right? Paint for 9 months, get all the pieces in there, promote the hell out of it, have the full song and dance, the bartenders in the red robes and performance art in there, the whole thing. And the last one that he did pre-pandemic, the last big one that he did, he sold, I think, 111,000, 112,000 Canadian, right? So it was a decent show. But you look at that, he doesn't know who bought the work. And some of the people that bought the work were his collectors. and he had to do a 50% split, right? So after tax, license, and doc and everything else, he made, what did he make? $55,000, okay, for that whole effort. You know, probably even less than that, given some of the size of the canvases and everything else. Versus this thing behind me, he made $30,000, right? And he did it on Old Works right out of his house, right? Like, that's insane. That just shows you, it flips the script, and the fact that it's like truly an international business too. You know, I don't think there's ever been a better time to be an artist. Now, doesn't mean it's easy. The marketing still has to be learned and still has to be done. Okay, none of you guys want to do the marketing. I know that, and it sucks. You're gonna pull your hair out of your head if you sign up with us, because you have to learn how to do all these things you've never done, and then you have to do them consistently, right? But if you do, I think the upside potential is it's never been better than it is now.
And the thing that's so appealing about this whole live video way of selling,
yes,
is that even though it's, you know, it's techie, which is always hard for me to get myself to do, it's
yes,
also being with people and doing something in the real physical world as well, and dealing with people one-to-one, and it makes it so much more appealing.
And it plays to your skill set, Karen. You old ham, you're ready to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could even end my sale with a song.
You could.
You know?
Yeah.
One thing I just thought of is I have a print that I made about the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you mentioned at some point you could even do a sale with just one print.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I've also made a 9.5 minute video about the making of the print.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Corona Cash.
Yeah, I love this.
But is it possible to do a live sale and inject a video into it?
Yes.
And
harder to do on Instagram, but you can put it on the page after the fact too. Because remember, early on.
I mean, I could do it on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
But I think that would make a nice presentation. Maybe it's too long though. It's 9.5 minutes, so maybe I could make some kind of a shorter version of it.
It's a teaching video. You have to go shorter.
Yeah, I'd have to probably get rid of the teaching part of it too, because not only did I talk about the
no, trust me, they're great. I love them, and we have so many customers that, like, case in point, like, look at Meg's, like, she uses it on her product pages all the time. Like, here is her process for how she made this piece, right? And so these end up being like little mini media moments that go along with the piece, right? Like, here's how she actually did the whole thing, and it's on the product page right where people could purchase this. She already sold, I think she still sells prints of this. She already sold the original, but she does it on a bunch of her different pieces. Like, she just also sold. It's really fun to be like, have customers that have been at it for like 5 or 6 years, and you see them getting better and better and better. I think this is actually the best work she's ever done personally. She just sold this thing to some guy in where did she say? Dubai, actually. I think she sold this originally for like 18,000 or something. But again, look, you see what I mean? Every single she's doing it. She's making like a little media moment out of every single solitary one. And it's not that you have to do that, right? But you can do that. And for every piece, you're obviously not going to have one. But in her case, she finds that it helps to sell the piece, and so she does it. And she's all she's doing is just setting up a phone right next to her. Knows how it's it's vertical, right, instead of horizontal. So anybody can do it. So I wouldn't stress about it. I would do it.
Wow. Okay, great.
Got it.
Will do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hold on. And people were asking, like, hey, where can we see the shows? We're gonna email you a bunch of these things after the fact. Kathleen was asking that. I think April sent you the link to Matthew's YouTube page. So, but point is, I'm going to send you a link to a couple of shows that you can watch to kind of, wrap your head around the how they go, right? And like some of the things that they say, but don't overthink it. You want to just jump on the bike and go for a ride. You're going to be running thousands of them. You're going to be super nervous the first time. You're going to be embarrassed of yourself a little bit. Does not matter. Who cares? You got to just run them. So that's what I would say. But anyone else questions? Otherwise, Wesley, I will get to your question number 2. Yeah, as a final, and then I'll go and get Wesley's question. We'll sign off. Q4 is coming, guys. Do not underestimate how powerful Q4 is going to be. It is a big, 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 big deal. And, you know, I'm 42 now. And when I was younger, you know, a kid, we used to live in a civilized world, right? And you know what the civilized world was? We would all celebrate Thanksgiving with our families. Okay. There's some Canadians on here. I know you guys celebrate Thanksgiving at a different time. So just imagine. But we all celebrate Thanksgiving with our families. Okay. The day after is a thing called Black Friday. And if shopping was your jam and you were one of those gifted people that knows how to get Christmas shopping out of the way early, you would go shopping after Thanksgiving, right? We'd enjoy a nice weekend, okay? And then we would go back to work, and then everybody would just shop here or there and have their Christmas gifts, and that was it, okay? Used to be civilized. Then what happened, okay? I'll tell you what then happened. Somebody invented Cyber Monday, and now Cyber Monday was a huge shopping day, one of the biggest all year long. And how did that come? Invented out of whole cloth. Who knows? Complete nonsense. Invented out of whole cloth. So that happened. Then the year after that, some merchant, some store, some big brand was sitting around going, you know what we're going to do? We're going to move our Black Friday sale up the week, call it a pre-Black Friday sale, pre-Black Friday sale, and we're going to try and suck all those dollars out of the ecosystem before our competitors. And they did it. It was a huge success. Then the next time, 500 merchants did it. And now, do you know what happens? October 1st starts, which we're already in, and it just kind of starts. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Jaws, but if you ever watch that movie Jaws, you know where like the detective is on the back of the boat, scooping the blood and guts out to try and bring the shark to the surface? That is every single solitary brand that has anything to sell from now till Christmas. And what that does, we are all affected, every one of us. We can't avoid it. The billboards, the ads on our phone, what's on TV, sale, 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 must that. And it gives us all these dopamine hits. And it gets us very itchy on the trigger finger next to the credit card, okay? There is no better time to be selling art and photography online and off than right now to the end of the year. It is going to be huge. And again, there is time to still get your stuff up on a site, get working on your marketing consistently, and start running some sales, okay? And it's not a sales pitch. If you do it with us, you're going to be in a much better position, fine. But if you don't want to do it with us, do it on your own. Just do it. Make sure you do it, right? And how many live art shows do you think I'm going to have my customers run between now and the end of the year? It's going to be staggering. It is going to be staggering, right? Like I have them running on originals, on commissions, on prints, on merch, on flash sales. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many different ones. So take these next months very seriously, okay? They are to be taken seriously. There's no better time for what you guys do to sell. It's not even close. So a very, very important time. All right, Wesley, go.
Okay, quick question.
Yes.
And yeah, you're right on as usual with the perfect time of the year to be running a live art show. So and I know you're not a big fan of advertising for us newbies, and I don't know, I haven't done 100 push-ups yet. Maybe I'm at 50, and I've got enough traction, I think, to start doing advertising. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the idea of running an ad for your live show, say a week before you actually conduct the show, particularly since, again, I don't have that big a following, and I would like more than 2 people to show up. So do you think I'm going to get any help with attendance if I run some ads a week before?
You likely will. I wouldn't. I would sooner run the live art show, and let's just tease your thing out here, right? You have $100 to spend on ads, right? And you can spend the $100 to try and to some sort of an announcement to get them to come to the show, or you can do what you're going to do if you're smart, Wesley. You can spend the $100 to show the live art show, the actual video, to your followers after the fact. Way more effective.
Okay.
What ad is better in come to my show a post or the actual show itself? Itself.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. I got it. Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks, Wesley. And send me a link too, Wesley, because I want to see it. Yeah, send me a link. All right, fine. All right, guys, good session today. I appreciate you all. If this is the first time you've ever heard of Art Storefronts, you don't need to do anything. Don't worry about it. But if you're like, okay, these guys seem to know what they're talking about, this program's interesting, go and see a demo. There's zero pressure. We are not the pushy, salesy types. And if you see the demo, you'll at least understand all the bells and whistles, what everything that we do looks like. You know, you get a private tour through all the marketing, education, the software, everything, and then you can make your mind up. You can decide. And you know, if it's like, hey, cool, this isn't for me, don't worry, they will never call you again. But it at least gives you the whole picture. So that's what I would say. There's buttons for the demo all over our site. I'll send you the replay after it's done, and there'll be a bunch of links on there that you can click. And have a great week, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time with me. It was a lot of fun. And good luck on your shows, Wesley, Karen, Shayla. I want to see you.